Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Startin and I'm going to be helping you with a few science lessons over the next couple of days and weeks, depending on what we've arranged. So a little bit about me first. I'm a Year 5 teacher actually at Bishop Oldham's Primary School in Poole. I'm the science lead there, so hopefully that's going to help you a little bit when it comes to learning about plants in the next few lessons. And I'm really excited to do this. This is the first time I've ever done online lessons in this way. So hopefully you're going to learn a lot about plants through our lessons, and we'll also have a nice few investigations along the way. So let's get started. Now, like I said, this is the first time I've ever done this. So please bear in mind that this could be a little bit stop and starty at the moment, but let's see how we go. So I'm just going to share my screen with you here, and we'll get started on our lesson. There we go. Oh, there I am in the corner there. Okay, so let's just wait for that to start up. Brilliant. Okay, so like I said, I'm Mr. Startin. I'm a teacher at Bishop Oldham's Church of England Primary School, which is in Poole in Dorset, and usually it's nice and sunny in Poole and Dorset, and we're right by the beach here. Unfortunately today, it's actually raining and windy. So I apologize if you hear lots of noise outside from the rain and wind, but we're doing this inside anyway, so hopefully it won't matter too much. As you can see on the map there, that's where Poole is, in case you're not from the area. You've got Southampton just to the east over there, Devon and Cornwall to the west. So wherever you are from, you see this is where I am at the moment. This is where we're doing a lesson from. So let's get started. So we're going to do 10 lessons in total on plants. We're going to learn about the life cycle of plants, what plants need to live, which I'm sure you may know a little bit about already, and how seeds are dispersed, pollinated, and germinated. Those are big words. We're going to learn lots of new words over the next few lessons. You don't need to worry about that too much already, but if you do know what they are, fantastic. Okay, what are you going to need today? Now, in every lesson, you're going to need a pencil and paper. So go and get one now and pause the video if you haven't got those. You're going to need some crayons or colouring pencils or even felt tips, because we're going to do a little bit of a poster at the end of this lesson. And then also the internet would be useful as well. It will just give you a little bit more of research for that poster at the end. Okay, so the first question today I want you to think about is, what is a food chain? So pause the video, have a think. Okay, so hopefully you didn't say it was a group of donuts or food put together as the picture suggests. No, it's a food chain is the way that animals and plants get their energy, and it's the order in which they get their energy. So hopefully you've done a little bit about this last year already, so you'd already have an idea. So let's have a look at a food chain. Okay, now calm down. Some of you may be saying straight away that there's something very important missing from that food chain, but we'll come to that in a minute. At the start of our food chain here, we have got a plant, okay? Now, I want you to think about where that plant gets its energy source from, because that's what we're going to focus on mostly over our next 10 lessons anyway. But in this case, we started just with the plant here. Now, the worm eats the dead plant, so it gets its energy from that plant. The worm is then eaten by the turtle. So the turtle gets its energy from the worm, and then the eagle eats the turtle, and the eagle gets its energy from that turtle. So like I said, a food chain is all about how energy is passed along from plants to animals and so on. Now, I have got here 4 objects, and what I'd like you to do is put them into order based on their part they play in the process of the food chain. So I'll give you a hint. The sun, which some of you may have realized wasn't on that last slide, naughty, is an energy source. So that needs to go at the start. After that, what order would you put those in our food chain? Just pause the video. You can draw them, you can write them, have a go at that. Okay, so hopefully yours matches what I have put here on the next slide. So our sun is the energy source. The grass is then what we call a producer. Okay, so that's the first, it gets its energy from the sun, and we'll learn about how it gets its energy and such in the next few lessons. It is then eaten by the zebra, or we could say it's consumed by the zebra, because the zebra is the primary consumer. It eats the grass in order to get its energy. The zebra is then unfortunately eaten by the lion. That is what we call a secondary consumer, as it has eaten the zebra, which has already eaten the grass. Now, there are other words we could use for the zebra and the lion. Have a think, say them to me. Well done if you said prey and predator. So the prey in this case is the poor zebra. He's not having a good day, is he? He is eaten by our predator, which is the lion. Now, some of you may be thinking, actually, something else might eat the zebra, and you're completely right. It isn't as simple as this all the time in food chains, and we'll have a look at that a bit later on in the lesson. Do you know any other words that we could use to describe these animals, more based on what they eat? Well done if you said herbivore and a carnivore. Now, a herbivore is an animal which eats plants and vegetation, like the zebra does. Or, for example, a cow would be a herbivore as well. They eat plants, grass, vegetation in order to get their energy. A carnivore is an animal which eats other animals or insects in order to get their energy. So a lion is an example of a carnivore. Can you think of any more carnivores? Wolf, tiger, sharks. I wouldn't say, though, humans are a carnivore. What word would you use to describe humans? Because we eat both meat and vegetation. As your parents will be saying, you need to eat your vegetables. So what would you call a human when it eats both? Ah, well done if you said omnivore. That is an animal which eats both vegetation and animals as well. Can you think of any other omnivores? Bears, orangutans. There's lots of other animals which also are omnivores as well. Okay, so here I've got a second food chain. I'd like you to do the same again, but this time you've got 2 food chains to do. Have a go at ordering these again. And this time try to use that key vocabulary, producer and consumers, and or prey and predator. Okay, hopefully you got the same as I've got here. Let's just move me. There we go. So we've got the grass at the top. That's eaten by the sheep, which is our primary consumer, and that's eaten by our wolf, which is the secondary consumer. At the bottom, we've got a leaf. That leaf is eaten by the hungry caterpillar, which is our primary consumer. That is then eaten by that small bird. In this case, that's a blue tit. Okay, that's the secondary consumer because that's eating some the caterpillar. But then this time we've actually got a tertiary consumer, and well done if you managed to put that at the end. Now, I can't quite remember what that animal, that bird was. I think it might have been a falcon. I can't remember. But that tertiary consumer is there because it eats another animal which has already eaten an animal. So, like I said, food chains aren't as simple as sometimes we think of in terms of producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer. Well done as well if you used any of the other words like carnivore, herbivore, omnivore in there. Okay, this one's a bit more complicated. I'm going to give you a head start. You've got the sun. Now, the sun is, its energy is consumed by the berries, the seeds, and the leaf. Okay, so it's going to have 3 arrows going off to it. So this time I'm showing it's more of a web. You've got to try and see where you can connect those animals up. So you can have a go at drawing this, or you can have a go at writing it. Try to connect those animals up based on what they consume. Pause the video now. Okay, let's see if yours matches what I've got. Like I said, it was much more complicated, isn't it? So we've got, like I said, the berries, the seeds, and the leaf all consume the sun, which is our energy source. The rabbit then eats the leaf, but it can also eat the seeds. That small bird can eat the seeds. It can eat the berries. It could also eat the insects. So actually, that's more of an omnivore than we thought. And the fox obviously is at the top of the food chain there. That can eat the small bird. It can eat the rabbit. It can eat the spider. Well done if you managed to get even the majority of those arrows ready. I tried this before and I didn't get them all connected. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do as our main task today is you're going to create your own food chain, okay? Now, you can use the internet if you want to help you with this to find out what animals do eat. But it does not need to be a simple line. I think it'd be better if it's more of a web like the previous slide, like this. Now, if you're struggling a little bit for ideas, you can have a go at copying out the food web I've got here as well, okay? And just make it a bit more interesting. You can add a few more words like omnivore, herbivore, carnivore, based on what those animals are eating. And we've got the key vocabulary there. So pause the video, have a go at creating your own poster using those crayons, using the internet to help you research some ideas of a food web. Off you go. Okay, fantastic food web you've got there, okay? A wonderful use of colors, wonderful artistic, some of you, great vocabulary. Love the fact that you've got those words in there. Vocabulary is so important to know when we're learning about science. Okay, so like I said, what we're going to do in the next couple of lessons, we're going to learn about the life cycle of plants. We're going to learn about what plants need to live and how seeds are germinated, dispersed, and pollinated. So here's a few keywords. Like I said, science is, the words for science, the vocabulary is so important. Doesn't matter if you don't know what these are at the moment. You may know some of them. I'm sure you're going to know what leaves are, for example. But I would write these down in your learning book or paper, or however you're keeping notes of everything. Write these down now. And that's it for today's lesson. What we're going to do next lesson, all you need for next lesson are, you're going to need some paper, you're going to need some pencils. And if you've got one, and it doesn't matter if you don't, it'll be really good if you have a flower. Okay, make sure it's not one of your mum and dad's best flowers, but ask them if you can have a flower, and it can't be a flower that they're going to want back, because we are going to rip that flower apart and look inside it. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to see you in the next lesson. Have a good day.